Hi, my name is Carrie Johnson, and I wanted to tell you my story, why I'm here, what brought me to this point where I needed to do a crowdfund to get help. I am going to have my left leg amputated. It's the result of an 8-year battle with infections and wounds that came from having a strep A necrotizing fasciitis. In lay terms, that's a flesh-eating bacteria, the kind you hear about in the news. I haven't come to this point easily. After all of that time of repeated infections, repeated wounds, multiple surgeries, braces to try and allow me to walk while still offloading weight from that foot so that I wouldn't get an infection or a wound, I got them anyway. This past summer, I had another infection, this time in a different spot on the foot, but the same foot. Further back, one that in a place that I'd never had an infection before. And what it did was raise the concern that we needed to take other action. So I had several choices available to me at that point. One was a full ankle reconstruction. The other was to try and find a brace that would offload all weight completely from that foot, live my life in a wheelchair, or amputate the leg below the knee. The first option, the reconstruction, was ruled out by multiple specialists as not being viable for me. The recovery chance was slim to none. The second option, bracing, was also ruled out by orthopedists as of the extreme need for offloading and being able to find a brace that actually did offload the entire foot. You can't do that on a permanent basis and have an active life at all. Living in a wheelchair is a possibility. Unfortunately, the damage to the foot and to the tissues means that I get infections anyway. So eventually, we're going to face the same decision over and over again. Do we take the foot? Do we take the leg? The orthopedic surgeons recommended that we go with the below-the-knee amputation. My wound care doctor feels the same, and I agree with them. I think that that's the option that will give me the best quality of life that I can have. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to be out of work for a couple of weeks prior to that. I'll be in rehab prior to the surgery for strength building and physical therapy on a daily basis to make me strong enough. I've been in the wheelchair for several years now, so we need to really work on my body to make me strong enough. And then after the surgery, another 6 weeks or more in the hospital, depending on any complications. So I'll be out of work that entire time. I will have a VA disability, and I may have insurance that will cover a portion of my lost wages. But that's not a guarantee, and we don't know for certain exactly how much that would be. Based on calculations, if I do get that, it still isn't going to be quite enough to cover all my bills. And it's not going to be enough for me to actually save money to move into an apartment of my own that's wheelchair accessible for after the surgery, because I'll still have to use a wheelchair off and on. At the moment, I'm living with my son and his girlfriend, and they have a wonderful house, but after the surgery, I definitely have to have a wheelchair accessible home, as I won't be able to walk. I won't be able to walk without a prosthetic or the wheelchair, or get around without the wheelchair. So I'm asking for help. Asking for help from people that you know is really hard. I didn't know if I wanted to do this, but I had to stop and think about, if it was somebody else and I was trying to help them, what would I suggest they do? Where would I point them? What would I tell them to try? And I had to be honest and say this is something that I would tell them to try. I've missed a lot of work over the last couple of years. A lot of work. Repeated infections, repeated wounds have really taken a toll. I need help. So I'm just asking that you will watch this, that you'll read my story, and that you'll share it. Share it with other people that you think might be interested in this, that might be willing to give to help me, no matter what the amount is. And if you'll share, on your social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on wherever, I'd really appreciate it. Um, so that's the story of how I got to this place. As for who I am, I'm an Air Force veteran, single mom, one son who's 27. I'm very proud of him. And I'm a fighter. I refuse to give in. I refuse to bow down to the illness that's brought me to this place. I'm just not willing to do it. So I'm just going to keep fighting. Thanks for your time.